Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frightmare HQ. My name is Lloyd Cryer. I am your host, and I'm here today with.
Hey, it's Charles. What's up, Lloyd?
What's up, Charles? How you
Not much.
doing? You
You
having a
know,
good Saturday so far, man?
it's a good Saturday. It's too hot outside, but other than that, I'm good.
It is way too hot outside.
I
Well,
like it.
we've already got a great guest with us today, and he's on the backstage here. Let's go ahead and bring in our guest today, Brandon Crane.
Hello. Hey,
Hey,
everybody.
Brandon.
How's it
Hey,
going?
Brandon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Like you said a minute ago, it's hot.
It is hot.
Yeah, summer came out of nowhere, so I'm grossly underprepared.
What's
Yeah,
the
good to
weather
see you
like?
guys.
Good to see you too. What's the weather like where you're at?
Well, today it says that it should be reasonable. 81. That's not so bad. I'm lying. Yesterday it was like 103, and then we got some water, which was weird. I don't know. I live in the middle of California, and it doesn't know what it wants to be right now. I mean, that's it. It
Wants to
doesn't
be
know.
everything.
Yeah, it doesn't know. So then I don't know, and our meteorologists don't know. So it's like a free for all.
Right.
So
Well,
let's see.
it's that time of year, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it is that time of year. We're here in Dallas. I mean, it's just ridiculously hot, and we just have to deal with it because it doesn't go
Yeah.
away for months and months.
Until when? October?
October, sometimes November.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
No. That's where I'm at. I like here in the middle of California. There's no break usually. Usually it starts off in May. It starts getting super hot, and then it doesn't start to come down until October. So
Yeah.
oh my
another
gosh.
another reason to look forward to Halloween. It's the
So,
only time you can go outside without melting.
Yeah.
so is there what's going on in your life right now? What have you been up to?
Oh well, it's kind of a downer actually. If you saw Lloyd, my mom actually passed away Wednesday.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I saw that.
Yeah, she ended up getting COVID, which makes it very real. In case there are skeptics out there, I assure you, it is very real. Um, yeah, she got it in a nursing home that she was in, and along with about 100 other people. And so it's that's rough. It's rough, but
Yeah.
friends and family have been amazing, and the support has been great. And now we just kind of unpack her life and celebrate it as we go along, and hope that once some restrictions are lifted, we can all get together and have a do. Yeah.
We're
But
very
that's
Well,
sad to hear about your mom, Brandon.
I appreciate it, guys. It's one you're not really prepared for.
yeah.
No
Yeah.
matter how old you are or they are, it's just when it happens, you're like, wow.
Well, she seemed like an amazingly wonderful woman that really fostered, all everything that you care about, in your acting and so forth.
By fostering, you mean enabling. Yeah. Yeah, she was definitely an enabler.
Yeah.
No, she was great. I mean, she was great, especially when I was a kid. You're doing the dance every other day up in LA, going to auditions and things like that, and that's where you've got the whole stage mom dynamic, right? Where
Mhm.
you get all these moms in the room, and they're like, "I didn't see you at the callbacks for such and such. What happened?" That kind of crap. My mom, for better or for worse, she's like, "You know where you're going?" And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I'll be here
So,
when you're done.
so you really didn't have that. She just helped you, and
She's helped you
Yeah.
along the way.
Yeah,
She
she
was
knew.
your best cheerleader. So to
Yeah,
speak.
she knew it was my thing. Like, she knew that it was my football, my baseball, my after school activities. So she was totally supportive of that. But she knew when to draw lines, and really, I did it when it worked for her. Because she had work, and it wasn't like the tale you hear so frequently about stage parents, and like quitting their jobs and putting all their eggs in the basket of their kids. I didn't That wasn't my experience, so I'm really fortunate for that.
yeah, I mean, you had a lot to be thankful for, because that could have really been, devastating. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we hear
There
so
are,
many people, who start at the young age you were, who, parents go crazy, and it's so nice to hear that you had a super supportive mom who was always there for you, and,
oh yeah,
still
she
did
was
her thing, but made sure that you had what you needed.
yeah, she was great. She had to wear both hats too. She was the mom, and she did all the dad stuff. Like when I was in Boy Scouts, or um, you know, relationship advice and stuff like that. It's interesting, the support that she did. I mean, I know she gave up a lot of herself to help me do what I was doing. Um, but she did it as responsibly as she could, I think. And
right.
left me with some tools to cope with being an adult, which you just don't get when everything else comes so easy. So here we are.
Did you see a lot of that as a kid, though, with other kids and their parents? And
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you see an almost unhealthy attachment. Like there are quite a few that you were definitely living vicariously through their kids. And
Yeah.
it sucks. Like it sucks for the kid, because once the kid is done and it ends, or it takes a break, or it does whatever, um, y- it's not your responsibility as the kid to help your parent figure out what to do next, right?
Yeah, and
So
we hear
I've
that so
seen that.
much that, parents expect it all to come from their children in those kind of situations, and it
Weird.
really ruins relationships. So,
Weird. Yeah, and I'm happy with the amount of work that I got to do. It was enough to stay busy and make some money and be fulfilling and rewarding and all of that stuff. But at the same time, it was just enough where it didn't take ownership, right? I never got famous. Um, I never worked so much that I couldn't go to regular school. So I'm thankful for the way it worked or didn't work in my case. Like,
so going to public school, did kids often know what you were in? Would they be like, "Hey, I saw you in such and such"?
oh yeah, yeah. And then there were some kids that were like mean about it,
Oh,
They,
jealous.
yeah, that's it. But you can't tell them that. It is what it is. But most of my friends in high school were totally, supportive and a lot of times made fun of me to make sure that I stayed grounded,
Yeah,
which
those are
is
the good
great.
friends.
And they're still my friends to this day. Like they're the greatest. They're the
So
greatest.
you started earlier with commercials. Was it commercials first that you did?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the earliest one you remember auditioning for?
Skippy peanut butter.
Oh
Oh
wow.
yeah. Back in 1980. I think it was October 1980. So
How was the auditions then? Did you just go in and say, "I love peanut
yeah.
butter"?
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, you just cruise in and they ask you to do stuff. And I think when you're really young, they just want you to be you. They don't give you specific direction. I mean, I guess maybe they would for certain things, but they just want to see what kind of personality you have. And luckily for me, when I was a wee child, I had quite a bit of that. And I worked for the same guy, the same director, Jack Dessort, for 2 or 3 years, almost exclusively, like all of his campaigns. But yeah, it was with Annette Funicello. Man, she was my first Hollywood mom.
really,
Annette Funicello, yeah.
and that was
Wow.
was that the Jiffy or
Skippy, yeah.
the Skippy?
Skippy.
Sorry.
Yeah, Skippy peanut butter. It's amazing. And that I knew who she was even at 4 years old, and it was cool. I guess I was starstruck.
Yeah.
But she was totally sweet. I ran into her a couple years later doing a Skippy voiceover, and that's just nicest lady in the industry.
I know of her because of my mom. My mom apparently grew up with the Mickey Mouse
Oh
Club,
yeah,
all that stuff, and she
yeah,
had comic books, Mickey Mouse comic books that I would read when I was a kid with the Annette Funicello on the cover, and
That's
yeah.
nice.
that's really cool that you got to work with her. She's a legend.
She was, and she was really nice, and it was my first gig, so she really helped me kind of figure out how to do it. There were a couple times when she's like, "You don't have to be so loud," or like, little more energy, or just she helped me navigate what is good for TV, if that
Right.
makes any sense. So
Totally makes sense. I can imagine at that age, it's got to be difficult too. So it's got to be good having people like that you're working with who
Oh
are helping
yeah,
you.
yeah. I had
Well,
no idea what I was doing.
and she
I
was
was
a
just
child actress too, so she had
she
gone
was.
through a lot of and seen a lot of the perils, and
That's
she
exactly
probably
right.
helped you with that. I
Yeah.
saw one year we had Linda Blair at our show,
Oh, awesome.
and Linda wanted to talk to the little boy from Walking Dead, Carl. I forget his name now, but he was at the show as well. So she had me walk over with her to his table, and she just sat there for 10 minutes and just kind of talked to him about being a child actor.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so great that she reached out and cared,
Yeah.
about somebody. So you had that too. So that's great.
Yeah, I did the same thing. And like when I met Jeremy Ray Taylor at a show a couple years ago in February, and Jeremy Ray Taylor, as you know, is the kid who played Ben in the new
Yeah.
films. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a guest at our event too.
Yeah. I
Very
mean,
nice,
he's
yeah.
nicest kid ever. But getting to meet him was cool. Getting to meet his mom was cool. And she asked me a lot of questions. She asked me if I was open to that idea of talking about what it was like being a kid actor. And
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm happy to help however I can. And it's great to kind of it's great to be there to kind of help pay it forward for the young ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you're one of the only ones that got to be in one of the new It films from the
Yeah.
previous. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you got to do a cool cameo in that movie.
Yeah, that was cool. I was really excited. I didn't think that would happen. Honestly, I saw the trailer. When the trailer dropped, I sent Andy Muschietti a DM on Facebook, and I said, "You don't know me from anybody, but I cannot wait to see what you've done." And it wasn't a grab. It wasn't anything like that. Hey, it's been like 30 years. I just want you to know, I think you're awesome.
Yeah.
And so he ended up talking. He's like, "Hey, it's you." So we started talking, and then the night that I saw the film, I texted him on Facebook, and I was like, "Dude, you crushed it. That film was amazing." And didn't really hear anything back. And then he came back with, "I think you should do a cameo." And I thought, wait a minute, you know what? This profile isn't even verified.
Yeah. You could be
just-
talking to a cat.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. And I thought, oh my, you know what? I'm an idiot. How humiliating is this, right?
Uh-huh.
So I grabbed a screenshot and I went over to Instagram where he was verified. I sent him a message and I didn't see anything. He left me on red for like an hour. And I thought, oh, man, he left me on red.
Oh,
And then he came back just as I was about to go to sleep, and it said, "I'm the troll. You want to do a cameo?" I said, "Andy, you can put me in a chicken suit, and I'll be there. I would love to be a part of this because it's an amazing universe that he and Barbara and everyone created. Why wouldn't I want to come back to that?" So it was a great adventure. Went to Toronto. Was there for about a week. We shot for a day, and it was great to be back. I was happy, so happy, and
I bet.
and making friends with Andy and Barbara and some of the people that were there was an amazing experience, and they're friends for forever.
Those
so
were
great.
both great films. I thought they were great. I thought they were extremely well done.
Oh yeah.
Of course, everybody still has a huge place in their heart for the originals.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for that. I mean, you can have both. You can, embrace the future and respect the past at the same time, which is great.
So true. And I think a lot of us, of course, were concerned when there was going to be a remake because we loved the original. But it was great seeing you in there. Seeing you pop up, I was like, thank you. I love little things like that.
It was cool. And it was great to see people who didn't know anything about it. I mean, we kept it under wraps as best as possible. Not that it's as as massive a cameo as like Stephen King being in there. I mean, but still,
Stephen who?
right? Exactly.
We're talking about Brandon here.
No,
We
I
want
know.
to see Brandon.
Right. No, but to know that people kind of got it and they freaked out, and there are people who didn't catch it, and that's fine too. They'll catch it later or they won't. It's just amazing that they stuck their necks out for me and invited me to come into their universe. I'm grateful.
So going back to the original, tell us a little bit about working with Tim Curry, who we all love Tim Curry, who was one of our guests recently.
That's great. Tim Curry was awesome. He was actually he was on a show called Wise Guy at the time, and I think Hunt for Red October had just come out, so I knew exactly who Tim Curry was. So I was kind of terrified at the prospect of working with someone of that caliber, because dude, I've never done anything to that point that wasn't comedy, that wasn't pratfalls, or that wasn't being the butt of fat jokes or being like the fifth wheel on a wagon. Like that was my niche. That's what I did. So to the prospect of working with people like that was terrifying to me. But I knew who he was. I remember seeing him when we have our exchange on the lake. He had shot his bit where he's standing out in the water and doing all of that, and it was my turn. So it's very clinical transition, right? He shoots his bit because he's Tim Curry. I come later, and we fill in the blanks. But I saw him in passing. It was for the first time, and he's in the full clown getup, and I was taken aback. I was like, have you met Tim yet? I said, no, hi. And I think he thought that it was because, he was wearing this clown outfit and I'm supposed to be afraid of it. Like, I didn't even care about that. It was Tim Curry, this legend. And he's like, well, here I am. And then walked away just as quickly. Like, there was no, I don't know. It just seemed weird and clinical, but I'm happy because that was an icebreaker, right? He was just so friendly and effusive. It didn't matter anymore.
Right.
And I don't think I wouldn't see him until we were shooting the finale, the confrontation. And that's where all those cool pictures of him, with holding the Mad magazine. And yeah, I mean, he was still approachable. Even like, we're choreographing the fight, and Tommy Lee Wallace, very hands-on, very good actor's director, is giving Tim instruction, giving us instruction, and we're doing several rehearsals, and he's doing it as Tim. He's just Tim. But the minute that guy said action, Tim Curry, something just switches in him, makes him go full nuclear, and it was an amazing thing to experience. Let's put it that way. It was a lesson that I took from that I've never forgotten. I mean, there's a lot of those guys out there that you can't talk to them. Like, if you want to talk to him, you have to refer to him as Pennywise, or you've got the people with a very strong method foundation. But Tim could be Tim until it was time to roll, and when it rolled, there was no getting yourself into it. He was just able to flip the switch and be Pennywise. I'll never forget that.
I was going to ask that. I was going to ask if he was a method actor, but you already answered that. And that's amazing that he could just flip that switch. I think that's that's even tougher than being a method actor.
I think so. I mean, tools, not to judge. I just think, people have different sets of tools that help them get from one place to another. It works. I've worked with people who were both. I'm more of not. Like, especially I did a lot of theater work. And when you're doing a show, there's no stopping or starting. You have to have your head in the game like the whole time. Even when you're off stage and you're about to make an entrance, you still have to have your head in the game. But you could ask me, hey, dude, are we going out for drinks after? And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Or yeah, are you buying? Oh, you're on Thunderbolts. And, it's just, you have to be able to conjure it from somewhere. And you can just do that by keeping your head in the game.
I always imagine that doing theater acting is a lot harder because, like you said, you have to be on all the time and there's no cut, right? It's just you're there.
There's no cut. There's no cut. And what's fun about theater is when the bad things happen, or an actor drops a line, or my fondest memory, I was in a production of Showboat, and there was a character in the scene that I was in who skipped about 4 pages. And in skipping the 4 pages, he cut out so much exposition that carries on for the rest of the show that I had to find a really interesting way. The first part with my back turned completely to the audience, so I didn't lose it, to try and figure out a way to reel it back in. Those kinds of things, we have to think on your feet and then hope that the audience doesn't know. Those things are amazing. But I think, film and television work can be hard too, because you've got the repetition. You have the benefit of rehearsal in theater to discover your beats and your moments and really program the foundation that your performance is going to be laid on. What sucks is, like, let's say you start a scene in film and you do the big wide master shot, the establishing shot, the main shot, and then from there, you do the offshoots, the close-ups and the second cameras and all that. By the time you've reached the end of the day, you may have thought of things that weren't in the master that you can't just now suddenly do because there's no continuity. So I feel like you have to deal with repetition, and I think you also end up losing the growth that you get from the benefit of rehearsal and doing 8 shows a week. I think that's the unfortunate part about television and film, because you have to think of continuity.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very, very small role in a little bitty film that nobody's ever heard of, and it was a friend that was doing it, and he asked me to do a role, and it was so awkward for me because I felt like I was lying.
Well, you're a professional liar. That's
what I felt. It felt like I was lying about something, and I was like, it was very awkward and uncomfortable for me, and I don't know how actors do it. It's anybody that says acting is easy, they have no idea. It's totally not easy.
It's when it comes to being a professional liar, or a professional, imposter, as what I like to call it. You have to mess with yourself. You can say anything, and whether or not someone's going to believe it is how much truth you can conjure with that. What you say has to have some truth, even if it's the complete opposite of who you are. So if you can find a way to be, schizophrenic, and convince yourself about things being true that aren't, then you're good to go. I'm sure you did great, though. I'm sure you did great.
I don't know. I felt totally nervous the whole time and awkward, and it was. I think it came out okay. I haven't watched it in years, and I can't stand watching myself or listening to myself.
Dude, nobody can. Nobody can. No one is the bigger critic than themselves when it comes to watching themselves on TV. That was a word salad. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's true. Like if it's on television or there's a repeat of the Wonder Years or something on TV, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not even remotely curious, because I've been able to grow since then.
Yeah.
And especially when you're a kid, filling the niche that I filled back then, there wasn't much room for greatness, right? Like, they didn't write epic speeches for me. I was a token kind of character. I was a stereotype. So, I look back at those things with a lot of skepticism. I don't want to see myself make that mistake that I've already corrected in my head 100 times before.
Yeah.
Hey, one of my favorite things is you as Doug Porter on Wonder Years. So
right on.
that's how I know Brandon. So
you want some Yoo-hoo? Will you be my friend?
Will you be my friend?
Yeah. That character came dangerously close to being a stalker, you know. But
Maybe just a little bit.
his heart was in the right place. Dumb as a box of rocks, but sweet.
Well,
Sweet character.
you mentioned earlier and just now that your character was a stereotype and that you were the brunt of fat jokes.
Hmm.
When I was a kid, I was very heavy, and I lost some weight later in high school. But and I know what it means to be bullied because you're the fat kid and all that kind of stuff. Did you deal with that a lot as a kid, or?
Oh, 100%. Even without the acting part. I mean, I this gets back to the kind of finding the truth, in your performance. The sad part is there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, like my character in It, bullied for being fat. There were a lot of truths that I was reliving playing that role, which helped that come easy, thankfully. I mean, we were transient quite a bit because not actually transient, but we didn't lay down roots for more than a couple years at a time. I was being bullied in school for being fat. You just deal with it. You just
Did it make it difficult doing auditions because you felt like they didn't want to give you the roles you wanted? They just wanted to give you something that was like a token.
You know what? Back then, the industry was a bit different. You could actually go for things that didn't fit a particular mold. There were a couple jobs that I got that I was not what they were looking for, but I did something in the audition that they liked, and they went a different direction with it. So it's different now. Like it's thumbnail casting. Literally, it's a casting agent puts out an email and casting or agents send them thumbnails and they pick from the thumbnails who they want to see, and that's it. There's none of that. At least there wasn't even 10 years ago. So I don't know. To answer the question, it didn't really bother me that much because I did have fun doing it. And I understood what it was. Like it was what it was. This was my fun time. And if I can be funny and make people laugh,
Yeah.
so be it.
It's a great,
Be it.
That's it.
I'm gonna laugh all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
Thanks for college. Appreciate it.
Well, that's a great attitude. I mean,
It's a great attitude, yeah. I mean, it's a great mindset to have too. So many people don't have that mindset, and I think it really, takes away from a lot of what they want to accomplish because they're too afraid to try. So
Well, I mean,
it's
it's still painful. I mean, I remember one of my agents was like, if you could just lose like 20 pounds, and my mom was bewildered, at hearing this. She didn't like lash out like maybe she could have, but we talked about it on the way home, and I was like, what is this? What they don't like the work I'm bringing in right now.
Yeah.
Like it's not enough. Okay.
Now they want you to lose weight.
Now you want me to look like everybody else? No.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm myself. This is me.
Yeah. And part of what got me the work was my size and shape. So be it. I don't really care. It hurt in the beginning, but the more I understood it for what it was, the less it hurt. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
We had a discussion with Kane Hodder about he was bullied a lot as a kid, and when we talk about this on this show, we get a lot of people that can relate. I mean, and we're getting comments right now. There's a lot of people saying I was bullied, and for whatever reason,
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we all talk about that so that we can let everybody know you're not alone, and that we've
100%.
gone through all of this stuff.
No, the people who bully are small. They really are. They may be 6'5". Like I would never bully Kane Hodder because I know what's good for me.
Yeah.
I've run into Kane at a lot of shows, and never. You'd have to have the biggest brass balls to bully somebody like that. But Yeah, no, there's small people that do it, and they don't understand. Most of the time, they don't understand their own insecurities, so they project them on you.
Yeah.
The bullying, and that was the other thing I was going to say. Man, the bullying is meaningless. It really is meaningless. Especially if it's something that's superficial, something that you could change if you wanted to. I could have been skinny if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to change anything. And there's kids that maybe aren't as athletic, so they get bullied. I mean, it's all empty surface BS, and as long as you know that, it hurts less. It doesn't make it any less convenient, but as long as you know that the people that are doing that are just filling an emptiness that they can't identify, and trying to make themselves feel better by making fun of you, just know they suck. It's meaningless.
Yeah.
Meaningless.
We hear a lot, in the horror community about people being bullied, and I think a lot of people really gravitate to horror movies and these type of roles because it kind of gives them an outlet. So it's good to hear you talk about this. I'm sure people appreciate it.
Yeah, I've gotten that a lot lately. Sorry for the ice. Bad habit.
Go for it.
Have some ice.
Could have been a burrito.
Oh, we're gonna
You can eat the
bully you
burrito
now.
too.
No.
You don't care?
Yeah, it's like, I got your chocolate. Yeah, no. You don't want to see me eat ever. Nobody deserves that. It's like hot mayonnaise on a sandwich. Nobody deserves hot mayonnaise.
Curdled mayonnaise.
That's another story. That's a story for another time. Okay, now I'm going to tell it now. I was at Subway.
Tell it.
Okay, and there was a group of people from like a special needs daycare center, but they were adults, and there was a guy, and all he wanted was a sandwich. He was so happy he was getting a sandwich, and he ordered it specifically without mayonnaise. And he told the lady, "I hate mayonnaise. Please don't give me mayonnaise." And he sits down and he recoils in horror. And I thought maybe since he got a sandwich toasted, it was too hot. And he starts crying. He's in tears, this guy. And he says, "I didn't deserve hot mayonnaise." So
What is it? That's so mean.
I didn't deserve hot mayonnaise. This poor guy, Speaking of bullying, this poor guy asked specifically for no mayonnaise, and he gets hot mayonnaise.
Oh.
So that's in my vernacular. I had to explain it because it just means nothing unless you have some context. But hot mayonnaise is bad.
That's going to be a good word for us to use. So bad is going to be, we're going to call bad movies hot mayonnaise, Louis.
Hot mayonnaise.
That's a hot mayonnaise movie.
Yeah.
I have a thing about mayonnaise is I'll only have mayonnaise when it's at my home and I can actually look at the expiration date.
Expiration date, yeah.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, are you familiar with Whataburger?
No. Whataburger.
Okay. Yeah,
Whataburger. It's a
Whataburger
burger joint here.
No,
it's a
I'm
Texas
not.
burger joint, and everybody in Texas loves it and goes crazy over it. But when I was a kid, I had a hamburger with mayonnaise, and I got food poisoning, and it was just the worst experience. And I knew it was that mayonnaise,
Has to be. Has to be. No. Hot mayonnaise.
We have to take Brandon to Whataburger when he comes here, Louis.
Oh, hell yeah.
He needs a Whataburger.
I'm down.
I'm
totally down.
I introduced Heather Langenkamp to Whataburger, so I'm going to add to this.
Please do it. No, please do it. My only Texas experience has been at DFW, as a layover. I have not been able to set foot outside of that airport, so I'm down.
We just got a fat burger here too.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
It opened up with no fanfare at all. It opened up during the virus, from what I understand. But
yeah,
I've always heard of Fat Burger, but I've never eaten there, so I'm gonna go try it out.
Fat Burger does not disappoint. In any incarnation, it does not disappoint. You guys need a Tommy. Do you guys have Tommies yet?
Don't have Tommies. No.
We just got In-N-Out.
Years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
that'll clean your colon. It really will.
In-N-Out.
Like Tommy's. No, Tommy's.
No,
Tommy Burger's function is literally to clean your colon and taste good while doing it. I'm not kidding.
I don't think I've ever even heard of it.
It's so good though. Oh man, Tommy Burger, so good.
I've had one out in LA, the original Tommy's hamburger. It's good, but it'll get you going.
Yes, it will.
Right. Huh.
Yes, it will. It's crusading for colon health.
Should
Well,
be a
we
doctor prescription.
Yeah.
Get some
we've got a lot
Tommies.
of burger joints around here. We've got Five Guys and In and Out, and like I said, we just got Fat Burger. I heard they were doing pop-ups of White Castle, but
Oh, I love White Castle.
my wife is from Detroit, and she calls them gut burgers.
I don't
The
care.
White Castles.
They're so disgusting. They're good. I grew up in Chicago and it's White Castle. I don't care.
Look, I think White Castle, and you guys, I'll probably get stoned in public someday for saying this, but to me, White Castle is to hamburgers what Spam is for meat.
Oh, I'll agree.
Like if we were stuck in a war, right, and we had to figure out how to preserve a piece of American identity and encapsulate it so it can be enjoyed 10 years later, there's White Castle.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And I'll wear a helmet if that offends people next time I'm back east. I stand by my words.
Look, it doesn't offend me. I love White Castle to death, but I'm pretty sure it's made out of rat meat, and I don't care. I love it. I'll eat that rat burger.
No, yeah. Like if you ever stop to think about what you've probably consumed unwittingly,
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
it's fine. It's protein.
Yeah,
I mean, there's people out there that are selling nutrition bars made from cricket protein.
Yeah.
I've had
sign me
crickets
up.
before, so I've actually ate crickets before. One time when I was in Mexico, they serve guacamole that's got crickets on top of it, and that's part of the way you eat it.
When in Rome, but what do you do when you're at home? It's not like you're foraging in your front yard for crickets because you're hungry. No,
Depends
you'll
how
just
hungry I
go to
get.
You'll go to White Castle.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the Three Fat Guys live stream.
Yeah,
Three fat guys.
I get
We like
behind that.
burritos and burgers. That's all we're going to talk about, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
You
want to talk about horror? That's cool.
Yeah.
There's horror in food.
There's horror in food.
Hot
there's a whole
mayonnaise,
food
in case you
scene
missed it.
in it where everything comes alive, and in the Chinese restaurant. So
Yeah.
we
There it
could
is.
wind that in there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
we
well,
can watch The Stuff. That's a food horror movie. There you go.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Go watch it.
Yeah. So did you meet Stephen King on either set? Have you ever been able to meet him?
I've never met the guy. It's almost criminal. I mean, I love his work. I love his cameos, but it's just never worked out. Like he didn't come to the premiere in LA for the for Chapter 2 when I was there, and I know he wasn't at the premiere in LA for the thing, 350 years ago. And I've always wanted to, but it's maybe our paths will cross. Maybe I just have to camp on his doorstep.
We'll go with you.
We'll go to Maine
together.
We can all take a road trip to Maine, and we'll use you so Charles and I can meet Stephen King too. We'll just say we have Brandon Crane here.
It's gonna have to be the other way around, because he'd be like, "Who? What? I didn't vote for him. What?" Yeah. No. You're the one. You're the one with your hand in the celebrity nexus. You could probably make that happen for me, and I'd be grateful.
Oh, believe me, we've tried. Charles and I both. He's not having it. He's got a million people in front of him to keep him away from people like us. So.
You know what? I don't doubt it. I fantasized about going back to like starting YouTube. I fantasized about a concept like, Brandon Crane Can't Let Go, right? Because there was so much with all the new interest around it because of the new films. I couldn't really get away from that. People were adding me all the time on Facebook, and so I started really getting into it. And it's been great to connect with fans that way. But I also thought, what if I created this like alter ego, of this person who couldn't live it down, like who's still living in the past. And I thought it would be really funny to do a kind of episodic YouTube thing on that. And one of my things was to hang out with Stephen King and, sit on his porch while he's trying to get rid of me in the most polite way. But that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I don't know. You should do that. I would watch that.
Look, we got.
I think a lot of people would watch that.
We got a camera. We'll go to Stephen King's house. We'll just do it kamikaze style. We'll make it work.
Yeah. That'd be
We'll
great.
stand out front that big bat gargoyle gate thing
Yeah.
he's got. And
I'll just climb it in the middle of the night. We'll shoot some B-roll, and then we'll just find things, and maybe we can do a deep fake.
Yeah.
oh yeah, we could do a deep fake with Stephen King.
In fact, Lloyd, you can do the acting, right? And we'll just deep fake Stephen King on you.
Yeah.
Well,
that'll work.
If
We'll
I
do it
the
together.
voice, it wouldn't work because I have this crazy Southern accent.
No, they'll figure it out. The deep fake works with voice too. It isn't just face. Oh, hell yeah.
Charles always compares me to the character that Stephen King played in Creepshow, the Geordie Barrel. You know, do you remember Creepshow when he played him? He was he grew the plants all over.
Plant person. He was super not to be like, he was like super redneck. He had overalls.
He was super redneck.
I don't remember that. It's been
scene.
Probably 30 years.
Jordy, you lunkhead.
You lunkhead. I'm Lloyd Cryer.
Lloyd Cryer.
I would like to see this though. I mean, it'd be funny to see you just next to Stephen King, like, look, Stephen, I was in it, and I know you're real proud to see me, so here I am.
Yeah, exactly. That's the attitude too. It's like, hey, I'm doing you a favor, man. You're not getting enough press. You're not out there enough, Stephen. Let me help you.
You're not out there. You have sunglasses on, big sunglasses.
Oh yeah, no. I was totally thinking about that. Maybe hooking up with some of the Wonder Years people, like knocking on Fred Savage's door, or hey, how you been, buddy?
And he's like, and you are,
and he's like, what? Can I help you?
You gotta have a case of Yoo-hoo when you knock on his door. Just be like, hey.
You know what? I'll tell you this. When I was in my early 20s, I was a messenger in downtown LA, right? You got to pay the bills. Theater was a thing. I was doing shows at night, but that's really not going to get you rich doing theater in LA. So I was a messenger, and I was sitting in Century City, and I got a text on the pager, and it gave me the address and the name, and it said, "Do not disturb occupant." So it was a mail pickup. So I get to this house, and it's Tim Curry's house.
Oh, wow.
Right? It says, "Do not disturb the occupant." Oh, hell no. I'm going to disturb the occupant. I want to see this dude again. And so I knocked on the door. His wife opened the door and was like, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here to pick up the mail." And she said, "Oh, it's in the mailbox. Just go ahead and take that." And then I said, "Is Tim here?" It's branded from It. And she looked like she'd seen a ghost. She's like, "Oh my God, Tim!" So then we had a little reunion, and that was cool.
Oh, that is cool. Awesome.
Yeah, that is cool.
We talked about some things, and I went on my way, and I literally took Tim Curry's bills to his accountant.
Wow.
It only reinforced my place in life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I love that attitude that you have.
Yeah.
You kind of just go for things, you don't let fear bother you. I mean, where does that come from? Does that come from your mom, or is that something in you that you developed over the years?
I have some fear. I do. There's a lot of things that prevent me from starting things that I want to do. But by and large, I'm pretty fearless, and I think it has a lot to do with finding positive ways to cope with the rejection when you're a kid. Yeah. I'd maybe work once a month, but I'd audition for 20 things. That's just the nature of the business, and I dealt with rejection pretty early on. In fact, there was a moment in 1984 or 1985. I was doing a He-Man commercial for Stinkor, smell your own stinkor. That was my line. Nailed it. Whatever. Anyway, so this kid in between takes was reciting a monologue from something I'd already shot, and it was that very short-lived sci-fi series called Otherworld. and we shot episodes 1 and 4 together. And they ended up replacing me with somebody else, right? And either I was too rambunctious or I sucked. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to watch it because I know I'm just going to pick it apart. Lloyd. that's what we do,
Right.
so my eyes flooded all the way home after work that day because I was like, holy shit, they replaced me. Like, no one even told me. Like, what? So I had an option to either let that completely destroy me and define me, or say, fine, you know what? Moving on. And I did, thankfully.
Yeah.
With a lot of help.
I looked, and you're still credited on that, on 2 episodes of Otherworld.
Yeah, it's could you imagine? I mean, that's like CBS trolling an audience, Like, could you imagine if, like, you're into this new show and you watch the first episode and you watch the second episode and you're like, something's different.
Something's awry.
And then the next week, the third week, you're like, yep, you know what? They changed the kid. And then the fourth week, wait,
he's back.
He's back.
Okay, so I didn't understand that. You were in it, and then they replaced you with somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean,
Chris Ebert.
Wow.
Someone, he was in, like, The Last Starfighter. He was the younger brother. He was in a lot of stuff. I mean, I never considered myself an actor, really, because I was 8, and I didn't have the roles that help you develop, or the tools, or the discipline, or it was my after school thing, man. It was my Boys and Girls Club. So you learn by doing, and I had just started doing, really. It was my first non-commercial thing. So, whatever. They put a kid in there who was much better at this than I was. Doesn't make it any less weird, So, but yeah, it's so weird. The ultimate troll right there.
That's insane.
So you sort of stepped away from acting, right? The early 90s. Was that to focus on school, or?
Yeah, I did. It was like the awkward years. I went from, like, Elvis 1957 to, like, Elvis 77, carbohydrate jumpsuit. Like, it was the middle of puberty. Like, things get ugly. And sometimes they stay ugly. But you just, I needed to finish school. And I really wanted to be a legitimate actor. Like, looking back at that work at the time, I thought, oh, there's so much room for improvement. What if I'd done this differently? And what if I'd had the tools? So I decided I was going to go to school and become a proper actor. And it's funny, I learned to do the job after I did the job. Think of it that way.
Yeah.
But it introduced me to theater, it introduced me to singing, it introduced me to a lot of things. And so I'd end up doing theater for another, I don't know, until, like, I was 20, to my late 20s. 30. I was 30 when I did my last show. Yeah.
Very nice.
So it was good.
It's been so good talking to you, Brandon. You have such a great attitude on everything. I'm sure
thanks.
a lot of our viewers, and I can see they all appreciate it. They're all commenting.
That's cool.
They're all mentioning, especially the bullying. People love to hear this, and it's good to hear your attitude. I mean, really, you give people, a great outlook on how to think of things. So we do appreciate it.
What I think is totally sweet was my first convention. The first person that came up to me and told me a story about their experience and how being in it, or how watching it and watching my character, especially, deal with the bullying, and then, overcoming something as crazy as Pennywise, gave them some lift. I couldn't connect to that at first. I never put that together, mostly because I was just living it. But to see that people appreciate that and have found that connection in themselves is so amazing. And that's partly what keeps me wanting to be out there, to do the conventions and meet people face to face, because the stories are amazing.
Mhm.
And it's great to connect with those people, and it's cool to connect with people that you think, inspire you in some way.
We're
They still
definitely looking
haven't seen
forward to
me
meeting
eat.
you. Haven't seen you eat.
They still haven't seen me eat.
We're gonna go to Whataburger. We're gonna live stream you,
Oh
me,
yeah,
and Lloyd
let's do it.
at Whataburger. It's gonna be fantastic.
I'm down. I'm totally down.
And we'll
Yeah.
tag Stephen King in it and be like, "You're missing out, Stephen King.
Yeah.
You could be here."
You in your gargoyle gilded castle in Bangor, Maine.
Yep.
You're missing out on
You're
life.
missing out.
Yeah.
Come hang out
No.
with us.
Yeah, no doubt.
I would think we have a couple of questions. Do you
Yeah.
mind answering a couple of questions?
Oh, I don't do questions.
Oh, well,
No, I'm
sorry,
kidding.
guys.
Yeah, no,
He's
bring
Brandon
it.
Crane. He's Brandon Crane, all right? He doesn't do that.
Oh, eat a burrito.
Man, I'm hungry
yes.
now.
Look at that
Eat a
bite,
burrito,
though.
too.
That is a big bite, man.
That's a big bite.
I have a big mouth.
You kind of answered this one earlier, but someone wants to know, what was your first reaction to Pennywise on the set of It? Was there any more that you could expound upon?
I think it had less to do with the costume and more to do with Tim and meeting Tim.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very different. The next time I would see him in costume would be when we were in the sewer.
Okay.
And yeah, the level of terror becomes real because of his ability to turn on that like pressure cooker of energy, like a nuclear reactor. It's intimidating. It really is. But meeting Tim Curry for the first time it went about as well as it possibly could.
Yeah.
Definitely a good icebreaker for me.
I can imagine that, because even when he did our show and meeting a lot of people, meeting Tim Curry was hard for me too, being such a fan. And him wanting to talk to me, I was like, I don't know if I can talk to you, but I'll try.
Yeah.
MP37, and this was earlier, based on what you said earlier, what is it like to act out those kinds of truths? How does it affect you?
When they're personal truths, it's just a conduit. It helps you sell it, and it makes your performance organic. It makes it real, and that's that's where the psychology of acting is so important. Because let's say I was never bullied. Let's say I'd never been in a situation of unrequited love like I was with Beverly and Bill. All of these things were this perfect storm, right? For me, it doesn't make it easier, but it helps really sell and convey the moment and then create truth. But sometimes, like I've played roles on stage, especially vile roles, where I'm coming at that from I'm making it my truth, right? And wanting to go brush my teeth afterwards because you feel gross. If it doesn't impact you personally, it's meaningless.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Is you feel like you're lying, and it feels it feels dirty, sometimes. So
yeah,
I don't know. Do you keep in touch with the cast of the Wonder Years?
Only on Instagram. Only on Instagram. We actually had a moment not too long ago. There was a director of an episode that wouldn't die. We were shooting other episodes. We'd already moved on, and we kept having to go back at night to do reshoots. And the director, we'd already worked full day. I mean, we're doing overtime now, and we're giddy and angry and tired of having to keep revisiting this episode that should have been in the can 4 weeks ago. So we're squirrels. We're like 14, 15-year-old boys. We're squirrels. And I just remember the director saying something to the effect of, they're just so unprofessional. I had just worked with Albert Finney, who was a total class act and very professional. Well, Albert Finney is Albert Finney. He's not a 15-year-old overworked child, So that night, when you sign, at the end of the day, after every day, you have to sign out and log your time. So it goes back to the union. They make sure that everybody's being compliant, right?
Mhm.
So we all signed out Albert Finney that night. And so we were talking about something. Someone was talking about something on Fred's feed, and or maybe it was Josh's feed. I don't remember, but I mentioned the Albert Finney thing, and we all had this kind of laugh, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you remember that." And to this day, I say Albert Finney, and nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm just so glad you guys remember too, like that. We have those moments from time to time, but we're not like pals. We don't hang out or anything. Not until I show up with my YouTube channel.
Yep.
That's right.
We're kicking this off, Brandon. It's going to happen.
We should. Okay.
We're doing
All
it.
right.
We're doing it.
Yeah. No, I'll start like a GoFundMe, except I really don't want to clog that channel because I think GoFundMe is being used for some pretty important things about now. Things are more important.
We can do it. We got a camera. We can make it work.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need no stinking GoFundMe.
Yeah, we don't need GoFundMe.
Then you know what? It's a plan. We're gonna do it. Hot mayonnaise productions.
Hot mayonnaise productions.
Love it.
Oh God.
David Dugas asks, and this is a good question to kind of take us out on. Do you have any current projects planned?
I don't right now. I'm still got my day gig right now. I don't say still, like I'm planning on leaving it anytime soon. It's a great job. I'm happy with it. That's what I am. That's what provides for my family. But I do have the freedom with it to take a step away and do things like go to Toronto for a week and shoot a movie.
Yep.
And so, I mean, there are some things that I'm talking about. There is something kind of hanging in the air. It's going to be a short with John Campopiano and
Nice.
Ryan Grulich, who just did that Georgie short last season. So we're talking about doing something together there, and I mean it's open. If there's something to do, cool, I'll do it. I'd love to do it, but right now we've got these munchkins that need me here, so I'm not gonna give all that up to chase the ether.
How old are your kids?
Too old.
Too old?
7 and 13, almost 8 and 14. Yeah, so they're almost at the age where they don't need me anymore.
No.
Do they watch any of your stuff and say, "That's Dad"?
You know what's awesome? They don't care. They could care less. Like they thought the It Chapter 2 thing clout was kind of cool, and it gave them some clout, and they thought that was cool. My dad's in a movie right now. So for 5 minutes I was cool. But my wife, one time there was an episode of Full House on Netflix or something, and she flips through it and she's like, "Oh, that's one of the episodes that Daddy was in." And my daughter's like, "Yeah, we watch Stranger Things." They could care less.
Come on,
Isn't that the truth? I have kids, and they could care less about anything that I've ever done. And you think about like superstars, like big actors, like Brad Pitt's kids or something. They're probably the same way. They're like, whatever. Dads are just like, get out of the way, Dad. You're really not cool.
I imagine at that level, it's like, I don't think I need to see my dad's ass.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure they're probably sheltered from the work too. Well, it's like even last week before HBO Max pulled Gone with the Wind, my grandfather was in that. He spoke the first lines in the movie. So
the opening lines, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to show my youngest her great grandfather, and she was much more interested in that than she was any of the crap I did. So there you have it.
Well, that's something that I didn't know. You just taught me something. I'm going to have to go back and check that out.
Oh yeah, you can't miss it. It's the very beginning. He and George Reeves, who ended up being Superman in the 50s, among other things.
Right. I know George Reeves.
They were the Tarleton twins in the movie. So I mean, they were best men at each other's weddings. They were friends till the end.
Your grandpa was on an episode of Twilight Zone too, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He had his steady gig. He was a classical music DJ in LA for 40 years. And every once in a while he'd kind of kick off and do an episode of General Hospital or the Twilight Zone or I know he did a couple of westerns too. I mean, it's just he pursued that when it worked for him. And
Nice.
and I think that's the model I'm going to do. Like, even though he was like lucky to be a radio announcer, I'll only do this if it's convenient, honestly.
Yeah. It's a great attitude to have. Know that you're there for your kids and you're there for what provides. You have such a great outlook, Brandon. We love talking to you.
I appreciate it.
We look forward to seeing you too. And it kind of sucks we've got a little postponement, but we look forward to that Whataburger.
I'll tell you. I know, me too. Well, I'll tell you. Like, even if you have to end up pushing it back, it sucks for the fans that are making the plans. I totally understand, and I understand more than a lot of people. On the flip side of that, though, that it is crucial that we stop pretending that we're freaking experts. And because I'll tell you what, there's people who were experts, and my mom still ended up getting COVID and passing away. Like, it is affected me personally. So even statistically speaking, you're probably not going to get COVID. Okay. I mean, even if you don't wear a mask, statistically speaking, you probably won't. And that's only going to reinforce your interesting decision-making. Like, and I don't mean to get on a soapbox at the end and ruin this whole thing. I'm just saying, if you have to postpone an event like this because you're trying to do the right thing to keep everybody safe, I wouldn't begrudge you that. And I don't think any other guests would begrudge you that.
Well, that's the most important thing, is to keep everybody safe. And
100%. It just takes one bad actor. I don't mean literally, but I mean, it just takes one person. It's just an unnecessary risk.
It is.
If you got to keep rolling this back, I'm still down for that burger. I'll come when it's safe.
Thank you. And if we do have to roll it back, then we're coming to your house. We're kidnapping you, and we're headed to Bangor, Maine.
We're headed to Bangor, Maine.
Let's go. I can fly anywhere from here, so I'm down.
Oh, this is a road trip. We're
road tripping it.
We're gonna put a bag over your head and throw you in the trunk. And
well, then either way, no, I'll come to you either way. Convention or really shady guerrilla filmmaking. Whichever one happens first, at least I know I'll be able to leave the airport at DFW with a purpose.
There you go.
I think the road trip would be hilarious because we could make some more videos. It could be like you at a gas station in like Iowa. Like, I know you guys know who I am. I'm just here to get some here to get some Coke. I'm sorry, here to get a Coca-Cola. Exactly. Don't look at me. No pictures.
Yeah, you
no
guys
pictures.
You guys have Coke.
You guys have Coke.
You guys have Coke.
Diet Coke.
No. Yeah, no. I meant the drink. I wasn't. No, I wasn't trying. No. I'm a public figure. I would never do. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Ricky Gervais when he did extras.
Oh yeah.
I loved how every single celebrity that he brought into that thing was this horrible caricature of themselves. Like, and that's what kind of helped, like, I don't know, form this idea, because I think people who can't make fun of themselves are really missing out on a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
that kind of, what you just said, that kind of reminded me of who's the guy? Jim Brewer. He told a story about how there's people that'll just bring stuff up like, hey, do you guys like weed? Do you smoke weed? And if people say no, they go, oh yeah, me neither. But I was just checking to see. And if they say yeah, then they're like, you got weed? Come on, man, break it out.
Right. Exactly. No, Jim Brewer is funny, man. I remember that whole bit he did with the stomach in drinking.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah.
You ever see that one where it's like a bunch of frat boys, with the beer, and then there's a couple splashes of wine with some, hoity-toity people, and then the tequila comes, and these dudes come out on stage with pistols, because that's the end of the night. That's it.
That's it.
That's
it's
it.
over.
If you want the night to end, you bring out the tequila.
That's right. Well, Brandon, thank you for your time today. It's been amazing talking to you, and we learned a lot about you. You've said a lot. I think you've said it all.
We didn't talk much horror,
food. That's all
but
that
we
matters
talked
is
food, and as you and I both know, food can be horror as well. So
That's right.
There you go.
Well, we talked about. I think we talked about. We hit the major points, but we like to just kind of be laid back on this channel, and
It's
great.
Just have a chat with people, and
That's cool.
And that's what I think we did today, and we appreciate your honesty.
No, I'm happy to be here. I'm around. If you need another little slot to fill, my Saturdays, consist of Roblox, and there's usually some kind of cleaning or labor to do that you could help me get away from.
We want to have your kids on the next show. We'll
have your kids on.
We'll ask them, what do you think about Dad? He's awesome. We're horror fans. We love him. And they'd be
like, bring your kids on.
Whatever.
And we'll make them watch. We'll make them watch the original It. We'll make them watch. We'll make them watch the original It. Be like, look, your dad's there. What do you think about this scene?
Oh, we can do a reaction video. And you know what it'll look like? It'll look like this.
They'll be on their phones, just boop, boop, boop. Yeah.
Totally like.
Or they have like a single tear coming down.
That's my dad when he was handsome.
That's so funny.
All right, Brandon. Well, we won't hold you up. We know your kids are just dying for you to get off this, so they can spend time with you and.
No, I'm in a huge hurry now to empty some 50-pound bags of flour and wash a car, and I tried to milk this as long as I could. So thank you.
Did you tell your wife, I'm sorry, I have to put all of the work off because I have a really important interview?
Yeah. Clear the room. Everybody clear the room. I'm doing a broadcast.
I heard your dog earlier too. We need to talk to the dog later as well.
Yeah, put the dog up here.
Do you want a dog? Because you can have this
on the road trip with us. We'll drop it off at Stephen King's house.
We should get a Yorkie. The kids are gonna love it. She said. Yeah, it'll be a great dog. They said.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen King has corgis, so
we'll drop it off.
Drop it off at Stephen King's house. It's yours now, Steve.
Thanks
for ignoring me all these years.
Do corgis eat Yorkies?
Maybe.
We'll see.
Bring a camera. We'll find out.
We'll do an experiment.
All right, Brandon.
Yeah. Thank you, Brandon.
You have a good day.
You too. Great talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
Glad to see you face to face, and know what I'm up against in September.
Yep. We're gonna eat a lot of food. That's what you're up against. So
I'm so down. I'm so down. There's somebody that said they were gonna bring me some barbecue.
We got barbecue.
So I think this is gonna be a party in my room. Probably there won't be any room, but there'll be a lot of takeout containers because everybody wants to bring me food. But I appreciate it. We'll
do a video every day. What's Brandon eating today?
That saves on the travel expense. So there you go.
There you go. Well, all right, Brandon. Anything else you want to tell everybody before you go? You want to plug a website? Do you have a?
Oh yeah. No. I got a website, brandoncrane.com. It has some information that's interesting to some. It's got some links. I've got some merch available too. Cool. Some Haystack merch, which is cool. I'll be bringing that to TFM this year, but you can buy it online. And there's some updates. I do some updates on some conventions, like little blog stuff. And I did a video for one in Germany that's kind of shows you what it's like to be on this side of the table and hooking up with all our friends. It's fun. Anyway, yeah, there's Instagram, Brandon Crane TV, and the soon to come Hot Mayonnaise production company with Lloyd and Charles.
Yep, hotmayonnaise.com.
Hotmayonnaise.com.
Well, mayonnaise.com.
Oh, this just sounds like such a bad idea. Such a
Sounds like
bad
a different
idea.
kind of website. Sounds like a different kind of website we don't want.
I didn't deserve hot mayonnaise. Poor guy.
I think that's my favorite story of the day.
Yeah, that's our new line. Hot mayonnaise. We don't deserve it.
We're gonna repeat that for sure.
Terrible.
All right, Brandon. Well, thank you one last time.
Yep,
we appreciate you.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you in Dallas.
Yep. Enjoy the burrito.
Oh, I will. Easy.
All right. Okay.
Bye, guys. Bye.
See you. What a nice dude.
Yeah, it's really great getting to talk to him.
Super great.
Nice
I haven't been able to speak to Brandon in person yet, so this was really nice. I see him in the background. He's still backstage. He's chowing down on that burrito, man.
Bring him back. Bring him back with that burrito. Bring him back. There it is.
Okay.
He's doing a commercial. I don't always eat burritos, but when I do, it's on Frightmare HQ.
Hey, get a big bite and say that, and we'll use that for our next plug.
Frightmare HQ.
Oh, here we go. Ready? All right. I'm Brandon Quinn. I'm never like then, Frightmare HQ.
Oh my God, how ridiculous. It's crazy.
We're gonna put that as our intro every show.
Oh, yeah.
You guys like burritos? You like Brandon Crane? We got a show for you. You're never gonna forget.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. You guys, he's crazy funny.
Now I want a burrito though. It's not even fair. We need. Somebody mentioned that we need a Frightmare barbecue review show. We really need that because we'll just do barbecue and we'll just eat.
Who's supplying the barbecue, or where are we getting the barbecue? That's probably the best thing to know.
I don't know, but I feel like we need to have this Frightmare food hour where we bring a guest on and we eat burritos and tacos. That's all we do. We don't say a word for 30 minutes. We just eat. We stare at each other like,
Barbecue.
Also, quickly, I want to thank Ingrid and Steven because they gave us a couple of super chats throwouts there with some money to our Frightmare bank. So thank you guys.
That was awesome. If you guys are wondering what we're talking about, we were monetized recently on YouTube. And so we've got super chats and super stickers. And you can hit that little $sign down at the bottom of the chat window. And it'll highlight your comments and everything that you send to us. We're going to put it right back into the show and make it better.
That's kind of the goal here. Make the show better, better equipment, better giveaways, and that's all your guys' support helps us with that. So we appreciate it.
Yeah. So that's thank you to Ingrid Hubert and thank you to Stephen Burt. We appreciate you.
We do.
We bow our heads.
I bow to you. I am your humble servant, Charles Doze.
We'll do anything for a $2 super chat.
I'll do it for $2 super. I will dance.
That's right.
Do a $2 super chat and I'll dance. Do it. It's over.
What do you want to get to next, Charles? Should I give away something or?
Yeah. So, as you guys know, we have gone to YouTube and Twitch. I know we've had a little bit of technical issues. We're working through those. It's kind of weird because it sounds like it'd be easy for us just to move to YouTube and Twitch, but for some reason, it's throwing us off a little bit. So
yeah, we're having some technical difficulties. Mr. Coconuts, thank you for your super chat.
I got to dance for him.
Do it. There it is, Mr. Coconuts.
$2 dance, boy.
$2 dance.
Got it.
Thank you so much.
So we're still doing the giveaways, right? I think the way we're gonna do the giveaways though is sharing still on Facebook, right? So like we're gonna post the video on Facebook and then we're sharing it, right?
I don't know anymore. We're changing things up, and I'm not sure. We're gonna come up with something. I did
Yeah.
choose this week's winner from some shares for last week's video. So I have the winner, and the winner what we're giving away is the Charles Cyphers autograph,
Cyphers.
Sheriff Brackett, Halloween, and all
And if
kinds
you,
of other stuff that he was.
You
in.
want Lloyd to? Lloyd will sign that for you too. So
Yeah,
I'll sign
it. I'll sign it right across Charles's forehead.
Yep.
Charles Cypher's forehead.
Lloyd was here.
Howdy. The winner
Uh-oh.
of this one is Shanna Potter.
Potter.
Shanna Potter.
Oh,
Boom.
shot her. Timothy asks, "What do I get for $20?" Well, you get.
Man,
I
I'll
don't
do
know
a
what
lot
you want.
for $20.
do you
I'll
want?
dance.
I'll show you a leg.
A leg.
Show you a leg.
What do you want us to do, Tim? We'll
What do you
have to
want me to do?
negotiate this.
Lloyd has to say your last name 10 times fast.
Petitus, 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 petitus.
Potatoes. It sounds like a rap song. Welcome to potatoes.
I'll do anything for $20, man.
I've seen Lloyd do some crazy crap for $20.
That's right.
Turn you white like a ghost.
While we're contemplating that, what do you think? We haven't really talked about this. I do have a really cool photo that I want to give away.
I was thinking that we would give it away based on adding comments on YouTube.
Okay, so comments. Now, how's that going to work? Because the chat doesn't stay, does it? So they have to actually make a comment after the video is stopped today. The live video stops, and then you can make a comment.
Make a comment. Because there's actually a thing on here where if you make a comment on YouTube, you can hit this button I have on my setup, and it'll randomize and it'll pull a winner out. It's called Pick a Winner. So it'll actually pull a comment winner out.
Okay, so that's the new rules.
Yeah.
Right.
Make a comment on YouTube.
Make a comment, and the chats don't count.
The chats don't count. You have to comment on the video, and that's just
after the video ends.
Like and comment. Do it.
Okay. Well, I have a really cool one that I think a lot of people are going to be excited for, and I know I'm excited to give this away.
Oh no, guys! We got a Carpenter autograph up in here.
That's the director of Dawn of the Dead, Wes Craven.
That's Wes Craven. He also did Care Bears, the movie. He did 3 episodes of Poltergeist Legacy, and most recently directed all the episodes of Mad Men. So there he is.
I like that meme where they put up a picture of George and say, if you're a John Carpenter fan, name one of his other movies besides Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh man.
So no, this is John Carpenter. This is a signed autograph. This was he signed these right in front of me while I was standing there.
Yep.
And let's see, he signed those, like I said, right in front of me while I was watching. These are genuine John Carpenter autographs.
I mean, it's all genuine here.
That's right.
Carpenter was the first person I ever met. Because I can hold myself together meeting people, but I remember after I met him and I left the room, that's the first time Charles broke down. I was like, Lloyd, I don't know what to do. Timothy!
Damn, he gave us the 20. What do we got to do for it?
I got to do a leg.
Oh, let me put this down so everybody can see it.
Oh, look at my legs. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you hit the mic with it, too. That was a slap on the mic.
I didn't hit the mic. That's just the vibrations from my body shaking. It's forces like...
Tim, man, thank you. You're the best,
Tim.
dude.
We really love Tim, though. I miss Tim.
Appreciate that.
It's been too long since I've seen Tim.
We are trying to move some stuff around. We're trying to move away from StreamYard eventually.
Yeah. And
so it's going to require a little investment. So we appreciate what you guys are throwing our way. We'll use it only for good, not for evil.
Yeah, we're not going to go buy a bunch of Yoo-hoo.
No.
But we could. We
definitely could.
Lloyd, get ready. We're getting a whole shit ton of Yoo-hoo. It's gonna get nasty tonight, Lloyd.
We're gonna have cases of Yoo-hoo.
Cases of Yoo-hoo. Woo! I just love sitting here talking to people. This is great.
I do too. I appreciate everybody joining us. We got a lot of viewers, even though we had some technical difficulties. So it's nice to see you guys on.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I know we jumped links and kind of the last minute, so we're trying here. You know, we're not experts here. We're just normal people who like horror movies, like you guys. We're just figuring this crap out as we go along.
That's it, man. And I never in the million years would have thought there was so much to streaming, and there's a lot to learn. So we appreciate y'all's patience for us.
So I just dropped a new Horror 101 video. So it's on folk horror. So if you guys haven't checked that out, check it out. I enjoy doing those. If you guys want me to do one on a specific genre, just throw it out. I'll do it. Tonight we've got our Twitch, Amazon Prime watch party with the movie of House. Thanks to Meredith, because Meredith chose our movie this week.
And Meredith is joining us live tonight.
Meredith is joining us live. And if you don't know Meredith, you're missing out, because Meredith is one of the coolest people who has ever existed in the history of people.
She is. And while most of you are very interactive at the show, Meredith is super interactive. And I always love seeing her. She makes me feel good during the show, even when it gets, a little stressful. When I see Meredith, I think, okay, everything's good. Meredith is here.
Everything is good.
So Meredith, you got to PM us with your email address. And I'm sure I have it around here somewhere, but PM us and I will get you the link so you can join us. And I did want to say something about your video, the folk horror video, before we move on. That was a really cool video, and it inspired me to go back and watch a movie that I haven't seen in a long time, The Blood on Satan's Claw.
Blood on Satan's Claw.
I forgot how great that movie is. I mean, I remembered it was great, but going back and watching it, it just made me remember how really, really cool it is.
Yeah.
And then it reminded me that, Glenn Danzig wrote a song about Angel Blake, and that movie it's so good. So watch that video. Charles does a great job on those. This one's called, what did you call it? Is it
Folk Horror 101?
Folk Horror 101.
Yeah.
Okay. So check that out when you get a chance. It's on YouTube right now.
Yep.
What else, Charles?
Other than that, I think that's it. That's where we are. I appreciate all the support from everybody. Appreciate you guys sticking with us. We're really enjoying doing this, so we're gonna keep doing it. Wednesday we've got 1985. House is at 7, Steven. Yep.
On Twitch, and we'll post about that again before we go live tonight.
Yep. And I guess I'll see everybody tonight to watch House, which is a movie I love, but boy, I can do some making fun of that movie, so it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Because I do that anyway, watching that movie by myself. So with a crowd, it's gonna be great.
I love that movie. We're gonna have a blast watching it tonight.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Okay, guys.
All right.
So I think that's it for now. Join us tonight, 7:00. We're gonna post about that with all the details again, like we always do. And that's it. We're gonna sign off for now. Thank you for joining us. We've had a great time. This is Frightmare HQ. My name is Lloyd Cryer, and
I'm Charles Doze. Carlos Dios.
Adios, Carlos Dios, you bad guy.
Bye, Lloyd.
Bye.